By the way, the person who wrote this didn't even perceive how creepy it was. I'm alone today, Ocasio-Cortez says pointedly at the camera. Is it just us, or does that sound like an invitation to a booty call? Maybe one step from what do you...
What? What? That is not what she was saying. This is rape apology. He's like basically, oh, she's asking for it. It's what? Like victim blaming kind of stuff, but like preemptive victim blaming. Oh my God. That's fucking ridiculous, man. Just recently, the populist, Tucker Carlson, decided he wanted to go hard after AOC, Miss Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And he decided to do this because a book came out about her, praising her in many ways. And he doesn't like that. He doesn't like it when women get praised, especially if they're women of color. He doesn't like that, you know. He'll deny. He'll say whatever he can to discredit them. He basically wants a homogenized world that's just the way that all, like, you know, Western chauvinists and white supremacists want it. And he's really good about dog whistling this stuff. But this here was not a dog whistle. This was straight out sexism and racism. On the part of Tucker Carlson, and you'll see why. I'm going to show this video to you first. Let's see here. But yeah, he's just coming up with all kinds of crazy shit at this point. He basically is saying that she really can't be Puerto Rican. She's just some entitled white lady. You'll see, and these are words directly out of his mouth. So let's take a look, shall we? Tucker Carlson. Tucker roasts book that compares AOC to Jesus. I'm not exactly sure. He never read the passage of this being the case or whatever, but he says that's what it says. I tend not to believe that. It may say something like she walks a righteous path or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, speak to us, Tucker.
Coming to Tucker Carlson tonight. Happy Friday, where all the news stacks up. We told you at the beginning of the week that Canada had descended into tyranny, and in fact it has. Justin Trudeau has declared that he controls all the money in Canada. He can take yours at will. Today, Trudeau had nonviolent protesters and independent reporters.
There's some fucked up shit going on in Canada still, too. I don't want to talk too much about it during this segment, but, you know, we have to watch it because I would rather have Trudeau send to the military and or whatever they call the Mounties there. I can't remember the acronym for it. If, you know, he sent those in like overtly and then gave those people a day in court, right? Like that's how it's supposed to work. You go in, you know, if you have to clear an area because they're unlawfully gathering, which I mean, they were blocking bridges. So I get that. Like if you're going to deliberately block a bridge for a long period of time so that, people can't get through or supplies can't get through, that's a problem. I do not agree, however, at all with the use of freezing of assets that Trudeau has been doing to the protesters, because that shit is silent. It goes under the radar. There's no checks and balances. There's no warning. There's no day in court. It's just fucking they do it. You know, they seize your assets without any recourse whatsoever. So that's not good. This leads into the story about AOC, by the way.
Arrested. In some cases, they were trampled with horses. These are the most egregious human rights violations by a Western government in recent memory. And yet the Biden administration is encouraging all of it. Biden's State Department has refused to criticize Justin Trudeau and his successes in any way. Instead, our mannequin-in-chief spent yet another day yammering on about Ukraine, as if we're supposed to believe that's more important than our own problems. What country...
Wait. You're talking about Canada. That's not our country. I don't get what the fuck you're trying to say here, Tucker, but that's not our country. It's our own problems? But, well, now, that is our own problem, But for the same reason that the Ukraine situation is our problem, international relations and international trade, so on and so forth. Does he think that we've annexed Canada already? Does he think that happened? What the fuck?
Country is this guy in charge of anyway? Someone ought to tell him. And in fact, we were going to tell him right at the top of tonight's show. That was our lead. A serious topic for a serious time. And then, out of nowhere, we received an early copy of Take Up Space.
Oh my God. There's all this important shit in the country going on, but you know what? Fuck it. We're just going to make fun of AOC. That's what we're going to do. All this important shit going on, all this possible war and, civil rights issues and many other things going on in the world. But we're going to talk about AOC. Jesus fucking Christ. He's either obsessed with her or hates her or both, which he probably, I don't know, man. The guy's just weird. He's obsessed.
The unprecedented AOC. It's a book-length suck-up to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez by the editors at New York Magazine. It's coming out next week. Now, a hagiography of Sandy Cortez is like...
The fact that he opens by saying like bad shit about Ukraine and like how horrible that situation is and stuff, and talking about the trucker convoy, does all of that conversation, and then says, you know what, all of that crazy shit's going on in the world, but we're just gonna slam on AOC for a while. I mean, fuck it, it's Friday, right? That's what the fuck, man. This guy, I don't get it. Maybe he'll have an explanation. Explain yourself, Tucker.
Like a box of Fig Newtons. You know it's wrong to open it, but the temptation is strong. And so we did. And before we knew it, we consumed the whole thing. We still feel sick. So that is what we're opening with tonight, the new Sandy Cortez book. Yes.
By we, he means his editors, because he didn't fucking read the book. He had him pull out excerpts that he could use for propaganda.
It's a lighter topic than tyranny in Canada or war in Ukraine, both of which we will get to in a minute. Our only excuse is it's Friday and we've got limited self-control with stuff like this. It's an amazing book. Let's put it this way. It opens by comparing Ocasio-Cortez to Jesus. And then it suggests that because she once got second place in a high school science competition, she could have gone on to win the Nobel Prize.
Okay. I think it's kind of funny that they use this picture, because I do shit like this. I like when I do my thumbnails for YouTube and stuff, I would try to find some weird ass pictures of people. But Jesus Christ. They must have got her like mid-sentence or something like that, or like surprised her or something. I don't know.
It is a remarkable piece of journalism. We plan to put extensive excerpts from the book on the screen tonight for you to read.
Sure, you did.
Then we thought, who reads anymore? Not Sandy Cortez. She never reads. Reading is racism. It's so white people.
What the fuck is he talking about? What? Okay. It's... What? Reading is racist? It's so white people? What the fuck is he talking about? Like, literally, what is he talking about? Who's ever said that?
So instead, we've asked our senior producer, Alex McCaskill, to read the passages for us. You may recognize Alex McCaskill's melodious outer London-inflected voice from the Stacey Abrams softcore porn novels that we have featured on the show. We've asked him today to compare these two projects. He said he found this one creepier. We'll let you be the judge. Here's a section in which the fangirls at New York Magazine let us know why they wrote this book in the first place. There are a lot of politicians they could have fawned over. They picked Sandy Cortez because she's a lady.
Why is he calling her Sandy Cortez? Where the fuck did that come from? What? Tucker's really good at just putting some weird shit out there, isn't he?
To say she is a feminist is to understate the facts. Ocasio-Cortez is the first politician in history to live fully out loud while female, and the degradations of womanhood are personal to her.
I don't get what's wrong with that. I really don't. The only thing I probably would have taken, it was lives fully out loud as a female. I think that they mean that as far as in Congress. Like, she doesn't hold back like many of the politicians do. Like, she expresses her opinion for the most part. And when she doesn't, people get mad at her for holding back. So I don't fucking get what that's all about.
So she's not just the first woman to represent her congressional district in the state of New York. She's the first woman in human history to get elected to something and then, quote, live fully out loud while female. What exactly does that mean? Is it a trans thing? Honestly, we don't know. She's definitely loud. But we did understand the next line. The degradations of womanhood are personal to her. Well, that's certainly true. No one has done more personally to degrade American womanhood than Sandy Cortez has. She is living proof that 60 years of feminist liberation did not work. Sandy Cortez is not empowered. She's neurotic and silly. She is far more frivolous.
So what do you do when you're trying to make a woman look bad, right? You call her neurotic, you call her silly, you downplay her intelligence. These are all chauvinist tactics right here. This is all stuff that, you know, has been used throughout the decades to discredit women and to try to put them in their place. And it's more the same. He doesn't have an argument. He's not going to point out what makes her silly. He's not going to do that. He's just going to say these things.
Frivolous than any 1950s housewife ever was. June Cleaver was a more serious person. At least she made dinner. Here's what Sandy Cortez does. She puts on makeup while talking about herself.
As the youngest woman in Congress, and as a woman.
This is like a video diary. Like, what the fuck is wrong with this? Like, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make any sense that he's going to put her down for simply doing a YouTube video where she puts on makeup. Do you know how many millions of women do this every day? So she just shouldn't because she's a congressperson. I think this is better for her to do as a congressperson. It makes her look more approachable, right? There's nothing wrong with this.
Women of color, it's so hard to be taken seriously. It's just, it's like any workplace where sometimes it feels like you have to jump up and down for anyone to listen. It's just really difficult because some people are just born in bodies that are naturally taken more seriously. People already try to diminish me and diminish my voice as young and frivolous and unintelligent.
See, I love how they try to clip out things that are bad, but they can't because there's nothing bad she's saying here. So it just kind of makes them look like assholes.
They don't take me seriously when I put on eyeshadow. People are calling me unintelligent just because I'm dumb. It's pretty funny. But the funniest of all was hearing Sandy Cortez.
What? Because you wear makeup, you're dumb? Is that what it is, Tucker? So are all women are dumb? Or most of them? Oh my God. This guy
has described herself as a woman of color. She often does. No one ever dares to challenge that description, but every honest person knows it is hilariously absurd. There is no place on earth outside of American colleges and newsrooms where Sandy Cortez would be recognized as a, quote, woman of color, because she's not. She's a...
What? She's a woman of color. She is. She's a woman of color. She's Puerto Rican. She's Latin American. She's a woman of color. What the fuck are you talking about, Tucker? Saying she's not a woman of color. Like, you can't even pronounce her name correctly most of the time. I'm just baffled by this. Okay, so let's see his...
Rich, entitled white lady. She's the pampered, obnoxious ski bunny in the matching snowsuit who tells you to pull up your mask while you're standing in the lift line at Jackson Hole. They're all...
What the fuck is he talking about? I feel it's like that's a personal story right there. Oh my God. He basically said she's a rich, entitled white lady. He fucking actually said that. What the holy hell? Where does he get off doing that? Like, he doesn't know what struggle she's been through, how she grew up. He doesn't know any of that shit because he's an entitled fuck. Tucker Carlson has got to be one of the worst people on the face of the planet.
all the same. Doesn't matter what shade they are. Apparently the editors at New York Magazine don't ski. They spend the...
Because Tucker doesn't see color. Fucking racist. What a fucking racist.
Entire book pretending that Sandy Cortez has just emerged from some teeming favela in the slums of Rio to save the world's poor. Reading it, you would have literally no clue she was a credentialed member of the overclass. You'd think she was St. Francis.
A credentialed member of the overclass? She was a fucking bartender and a activist up until she got into Congress. Her family's poor. She doesn't come from money like you do, Tucker. She doesn't... What the fuck, man? This guy is making the worst arguments and is projecting so much because he says he's a populist when he's a little rich white boy that was born with a silver spoon in his mouth.
Francis.
On the day of the House vote, Ocasio-Cortez stood up in the chamber, again wearing all white. She looked like a prophet, or a medium tapping a deep well of popular fury.
Radiant and white in her gown, bathed in the glow of holy righteousness, a prophet for our time.
I love it how Republicans will always attack the clothes of people when they don't have a better argument. Like they did this with the tan suit with Obama, even though there's been several Republicans have worn tan suits. They've done it with AOC, with the Eat the Rich dress, with now with just a plain white dress. They have nothing. They have no basis to stand on, so they're just going to try to make some shit up. He sounds like somebody making fun of somebody in the lunchroom of a fucking elementary school. That's what he sounds like. He sounds like the most immature little fucking booger-nosed kid named Billy that tries to pick on everybody else because he could hit a growth spurt before them. That's what he sounds like. Except for, that's a really punchable face, in Roblox and video games and stuff. I'd punch the shit out of him in Roblox.
Imagine Isaiah, but with nails to match the handbag. That's how New York Magazine describes Sandy Cortez. And that's weird because we live in this country too, and that's not at all how we remember the moment. Here's a clip from the speech the book...
Why is he calling her Sandy Cortez? Is this to go along with the white person thing? Is that what he's saying? I don't fucking know.
...is referring to. Look at this person and ask yourself if you can feel God's presence.
But we have to go into this vote eyes wide open. What did the Senate majority fight for? One of the largest corporate bailouts with as few strings as possible in American history.
A prophet?
She sounds pretty smart to me. She sounds like pretty based when she said that. You don't hear, you had trust me, I'm older, guys. You didn't hear that in Congress 10 years ago, except for from Bernie Sanders, and they just fucking ignored him, right? So you didn't hear shit like that. This guy is trying to do a hit job on her and is doing a fucking horrible job because all he can do is call her a white lady and say she's dumb when obviously you can see that she's not dumb. She may not be the perfect politician. I've disagreed with her on things before. Probably not the same thing a lot of leftists have disagreed with her. I was not a big fan of Force the Vote or anything like that. I didn't think that was the way to go. But I have disagreed with her on some of her rhetoric when it comes to Nancy Pelosi and things like that. But she's gone against even the Progressive Caucus on votes before because she has fucking integrity for the most part. She makes mistakes. She's a human being, but I don't think that everybody tries to do a hit job on her. It's like the far right and the far left and then the corporate Dems and the Dems. The only group that really doesn't go after her that much are the Social Democrats. And I'm a socialist myself. I would consider myself more of a socialist than a social democrat, but I don't think that she's a bad politician by any means. She's a little green behind the ears sometimes, but for the most part, I think she's doing a very great job for her age and her experience. And she's bringing a lot of light to subjects that are important to me for sure, and that are important to a lot of people I know.
Or proof that Adderall abuse is more common than we admit. We'll let you decide. We will tell you that the editors at New York Magazine are highly...
Oh, now he's saying that she's abusing Adderall too. What the fuck, man? Just slip that in there.
...impressed by the way Ocasio-Cortez looks. They think she's hot. It's a major theme in the book. And in fact, it's a major theme with Ocasio-Cortez herself. She talks about her beauty constantly. Just a few weeks ago, she let us know how hard it is that everyone wants to sleep with her all the time. What a burden. It's like living as a nudist in the Dallas Cowboys locker room.
It's because people do. I mean, it's sad, but that whole thing with her husband in Florida, it was complete disgusting bullshit. Like, there was no reason for any of that. It was just Republicans mouth breathing because they were jealous of her boyfriend and want to like hate fuck her. That's what they want. But, you know, they don't get that. So they're just going to whine like little babies, like little Tucker babies here.
Men are so aroused by her TikTok videos, she can barely get through a day. Yet she does her job anyway. That's why she's a hero. The burden of sexiness weighs heavily on her sleek and tawny shoulders, but she bears up under it. Listen to New York Magazine's account.
Ocasio-Cortez would have been well aware of her impact on others. Her rhetoric could be confrontational, and her politics countercultural, but her appearance conformed to society's conventions. With her wide-apart eyes, arched brows, and tawny complexion, she could have modeled for a skincare line, and in fact later capitalized on these assets by shooting a makeup tutorial for Vogue.
Big fucking deal. What's wrong with that? Like, he's gonna, oh, look at his face. Oh, Tucker. Oh, here, we're gonna save this little picture because I might use this later. Oh, where's it at? There we go.
She could have been a model for a skincare line. And that's why she's such an amazing political leader, because she's so pretty. Imagine a man saying that. It would probably be considered patronizing, if not grounds for cancellation. But New York Magazine isn't ashamed to objectify Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. It makes you wonder what would happen if one day she gained 100 pounds and got eczema on her nose and forgot to trim her.
Aren't you objectifying her? You called her stupid. You're basically saying the only reason she's in Congress is because she's pretty. Isn't that what you're saying, Tucker?
Ear hair. You know what would happen? Her political influence would evaporate instantly. She's not the leader of an ideological movement. She's a living marketing campaign. Here she is selling cosmetics.
I really like starting to blend with my fingers, and then I'll go in afterwards and polish it off. I've been lately playing with a lot of eyeshadows. I go in with a little kind of a lighter color, and I would just wash it all over my lid. I tried the shimmer, and it looks fire, it looks good. Whenever you see me wearing a red lip, most of the time, it's this one. And again, I start small and I start working my way out.
She didn't even say any of the product names in the video. She hasn't... What?
Voila.
So makeup is a process. You know, you start small and then you work your way out, concentric circles. That's the way she uses cosmetics. And we have to admit, she seems pretty good at it. Painting her own face may be her one real skill, but something useful?
Again. Just look pretty, girl. Just sit there and look pretty. That's what he's trying to... Jesus fucking Christ.
It's a different story. Watch this CNN account of her attempt to assemble her own IKEA furniture.
Oh, shoot. 5-second rule. Hey, everyone.
She was munching popcorn, sipping white wine, and assembling furniture on Instagram Live?
All right, what am I doing here?
AOC moved into her Washington apartment 3 months ago, but has been too busy to furnish it.
Did I do this wrong? Boom! I did it.
Obviously, there are a lot of self-involved people in politics, all of them, pretty much.
Again, that's approachable, man. If anybody's ever tried to put together IKEA furniture, they know how approachable that is, right? They know that she's, you know, doing stuff that's relatable there. It's not something that she's doing that's trying to make her look like something special or anything. She's just being her, man. Just being her.
But it takes a special kind of narcissist to imagine that the world desperately wants to see you bowl together a particle board coffee table. But New York Magazine can't get enough of it. Here's their account of what you just saw.
Well, then, oh my God. So he just admitted it. Like, nobody wants to see her put together her furniture, but she thinks that she's so amazing that people don't want to see, but yet they can't get enough of it. Right there in the same sentence, he contradicts himself.
Night, and again during another session assembling IKEA furniture in July, she shone a bright light on her own complicated, multifaceted self. In that video, Ocasio-Cortez looks thin. Her trousers sag. She's wearing her glasses, and her hair is up in a sloppy, just-about-to-wash-my-face bun. She's wearing an old moto jacket and is sitting on the floor of her unfurnished apartment eating a bowl of popcorn and drinking a glass of wine. For dessert, she has a small pack of fruit snacks, sent to her in bulk by Roberts' mother. She has no agenda, nothing in particular to get off her chest. It really is as if she were exhausted and wanting to talk. "I'm alone today," she says pointedly at the camera.
And then he laughs at that. laugh at somebody because they're reaching out, because they're alone, because they don't feel good, because they, they wanted some company, but they're in a new city and trying to put their furniture together, so they don't really have anybody to talk to. Jesus fucking Christ.
Imagine if you were the person who wrote that. So here's this crazed solipsist filming herself as she puts together a coffee table and eats popcorn, okay? The least compelling film made since Andy Warhol died. And this is what you call it. She's shown a bright light on her own complicated, multifaceted self. That's the moment you have to be honest with yourself and say, it's time for me to retire. By the way, the person who wrote this didn't even perceive how creepy it was. I'm alone today, Ocasio-Cortez says pointedly at the camera. Is it just us, or does that sound like an invitation to a booty call? Maybe one step from, what do you...
What? What? That is not what she was saying. This is rape apology. He's like, basically, she's asking for it. It's what? Like victim blaming kind of stuff, but like preemptive victim blaming. Oh my God. That's fucking ridiculous, man. This guy, he has no soul.
You wearing? By the way, it's a little strange. It's definitely oversharing. And yet, according to the book, oversharing is the key to Sandy Cortez's success.
She offered the reassuring warmth of Oprah, the fire and brimstone of Jonathan Edwards, the inspiration of John F. Kennedy, the intimacy of an FDR fireside chat. It was exhausting and reassuring and scary and comforting and extremely weird.
The intimacy of an FDR fireside chat. Sure, except that FDR never told us about his skincare regimen. Somehow he was able to win the Second World War anyway. You wonder how he did that. You also wonder what brand of concealer he used. Sadly, there was no Instagram then, so the details have been lost to history. Thank heaven we know what Sandy Cortez uses.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News.
All right, guys. All right. So that was Tucker being the dumbass that he is. But I just wanted to go over a couple of tweets that I found too, and her response to this situation. So we'll go over this small Hill article first. Probably won't read the whole thing, but we'll get into a little bit of the nitty gritty of this right now. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez rebuked Fox News host Tucker Carlson on Twitter after he referred to her as rich entitled white lady during a Friday segment on his show. She's the pampered, obnoxious ski bunny in the matching snowsuit who tells you to pull up your mask while standing at the lift line at Jackson Hole, Carlson said during a segment in which he touched on a new book called Take Up Space, The Unprecedented AOC, according to Newsweek. They're all the same. Doesn't matter what shade they are. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Ocasio-Cortez, whose mother is from Puerto Rico, quote tweeted a clip of Carlson's remarks, referred to him with the Spanish insult. This is the type of stuff you say when your name starts with a P and ends with a dejo. Referring to pendejo, which means idiot or asshole. The New York Democrat also called the Fox News host a creep and referred to him as basura, Spanish for trash. After Carlson also claimed that she might have been making a booty call while making a social media video, after referring to reading from one excerpt of her book, Newsweek reported. So we read one excerpt of the whole thing and then just kind of went around it. Remember when the right wing had a meltdown when I suggested they exhibit obsessive impulses around young women? Well, now Tucker Carlson is wishing for this on national TV, she tweeted. You're a creep, bro. If you're this easy with sexual harassment on air, how are you treating your staff? It's a salient question, I think. Maybe he needs to think about that a little bit. Maybe he says things, that he shouldn't probably say to people he shouldn't probably say it to, right? Any man that talks like this will treat any woman like this. Doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, or neither. This is clearly not a safe person to leave alone with a woman, Ocasio-Cortez continued. Once again, the existence of a wife or daughters doesn't make a man good, and this one is a basura. Yeah, so I guess I did read the whole article. It wasn't that long. So then also we had a little bit of another statement from her just recently. And this, I just want to look at this thread really quick too. So it says, I genuinely want to know why Tucker Carlson is allowed paid to engage in clear, targeted, libelous harassment that endangers people and drives so many violent threads that people have to fundraise for their own safety. Why should they have to pay for his harassment? Make it make sense, is what she says. It's not within the realm of political commentary, and it's not just me. He regularly targets people that do not have access to resources for protection. Once he gets to fantasizing about booty calls of women on national TV, I cease to see the political value outside of incitement. This is very true. Lots of people asking about Tucker Carlson's advertisers, and well, he doesn't have any left. Like almost zero. Well, that's good. And then one of my favorite people ever, George Takei, he came out with this. The thing about AOC flying first class and being a bartender before is that Russia is about to launch the largest invasion of another country in Europe since WW2 at the cost of possibly tens of thousands of lives. Yeah, there's more important shit to talk about. Fucking cucked Tuck. He's one person I wouldn't mind bumping into just once, forcefully, on Roblox. Yeah. Anyways. So yeah, we can see here in leaps and bounds that Tucker Carlson is once again a complete fucking buffoon and deserves to die alone a sad and pathetic life. I hope his wife leaves him. I hope his kids hate him. I basically would like to see him just disappear from the consciousness of society in general. I think that would make a better place for the world. Yeah. That's what I think.